So hi YouTubers, I got a bit confused at the end of my last posted video, which was actually the empties for April, and started talking about my favourites. These are actually my favourite products for April, or at least some of the things that I've particularly been enjoying using that I thought I would talk about this month for those of you who are interested. I guess the least surprising favourite is that beauty in the middle over here, my Tom Ford Unabashed palette, because I did a whole video down below about my first impressions of this palette, and I have really been getting my money's worth out of it, really enjoying using it. It's one of those very luxurious and expensive treats to myself that I absolutely don't regret, because I have already got a lot of use out of it, and I think I'll get a whole lot more. You can see that despite me saying that, I mean, it barely looks as if it's touched. There's a lot of product in here. If I had to pick one shade, it's this cheek colour that I've been using more or less every day. I have to say, up until this palette, I wasn't an overwhelming fan of Tom Ford's cheek colours. I only had one I bought from, I think, the autumn series last year, Aphrodisiac, which is a beautiful shade in the pan, but a little too vivid to work with. This one here is the most beautiful pinky coral goldy flush. It's looking quite vivid there on the monitor, but it really is easy to apply, looks really good, and is extremely long lasting, which I love, because my favourite texture for blusher is powder. I find that the easiest to apply and work with, but very often powder shadows don't for me last all that well. This one really does. So I've been wearing that more or less every day, hardly worn any other blushes since I bought this palette. I have, however, busted out the bronzer for the first time since spring came this month on a few occasions, and I've been enjoying using this one, which is also a Tom Ford product, and I think it was from last year's summer collection, but you can actually get it certainly on eBay fairly easily, and actually in some outlets. It's the bronzed amber, which was one of two. I think the cheek colour is much harder to come by, and it's just a really nice, it looks quite vivid there, but it really blends in very nicely just to give a bronzy sheen. Easy to work with your fingers, which I like. So I don't use it particularly as a contour or a bronzer in that sense. I have been busting out the Chanel Creme de Soleil, Tan de Soleil rather, for the first time this month for that sort of bronze contouring, but as a kind of alternative to a cheek colour, to give a bit of colour. So I have been using that, really like it. As usual with Tom Ford products, there's a ton of product there. I don't think I'll ever manage to use all this. Working on the skin, I've been trying to improve my skin by being a bit more diligent with cleansing and treatment, and I've really been enjoying using this product, which is Kiehl's Midnight Recovery Concentrate, that I've read a lot about over the years, but never really felt an urge to buy an oil type serum or treatment. I just feel they're a bit kind of messy on the skin, sometimes don't soak in all that well. I have used Declior and Clarins ones in the past, and I prefer a cream, let's say. But I have to say, I have been impressed with this one so far. What I really like is it's quite easy to use compared with some of the old bottle type ones. You know, it's one of these dropper jobs, and there's the sort of integral pump. So it's easy to get the right amount. It's not super oily, but it does feel as if it's feeding my skin. And I'm moderately impressed with the results, although my skin's had a tricky month this month. I've had a few breakouts. I don't kind of put it down to one product though, so I have been enjoying using that. It's pleasant to use. And then to kind of cover up in the day, I've been really between two extremes this month. I've been going back to the Bourjois Healthy Mix Serum foundation. Really good drugstore product. I have it in 2 shades. This is 51 there, which is the kind of pale shade in the winter. I've got 52, which is very close, and I'm starting to kind of mix the two together to get the right shade at the moment to give myself a bit of colour. Really like the look of it on my skin. It looks like my skin, only better with some concealer. What is not so great is it really doesn't last that long on my skin. I've read reviews saying, you know, how it lasts all day. Maybe it's to do with my skin, which isn't particularly oily, certainly not other than on the T-zone. But I really find it's kind of wearing off by the time I go to the loo and look in the mirror at midday. So, you know, kind of 5-6 hours wear at best, and that's with a primer and with, you know, finishing powder or without. So that's the downside, but I really do like the look of it, and it's excellent value, and I wear it on those days when I'm kind of less bothered about coverage. On the days where I have really wanted my foundation to last, then I've been going to the Traceless foundation stick by Tom Ford that I think I've spoken of before. Really fantastic, hugely expensive product, but I was really surprised at the consistency and the appearance of this. You do need to blend it in really well with a good brush, but once you do, it gives a really dewy, moist, but medium. Well, it's very buildable. You could have heavy coverage if you wanted, but you can certainly get a good medium coverage with this. And to be honest, on some days I'll use the Healthy Serum foundation kind of all over, and then go in on the chin and T-zone, which is the kind of weaker area for me, with the Tom Ford to give some extra coverage. So yeah, Tom Ford, it's been a good month for Tom Ford with me. I have talked about brushes in the past, and I should mention too that I've been using more this month. One, particularly because of the Tom Ford. That's the MAC 231, which is just a little stiff liner brush, which I've been using with the cobalt blue to line the eyes. Works really well. It's about the first time I've used that brush. But then this one here, my 219, which I had previously just tended to use to put in a bit of highlighter under the arch of my eyebrow. But I've actually been using it in the kind of fold area of my eye. I have quite hooded eyes. So to give a bit of definition, I've previously kind of transitioned and gone into the fold with a fluffy brush. But I've actually found this and then blending out has given me more effective control over that area. So I've been really enjoying using that. Sorry, it looks a bit mucky at the moment. Needs a wash after this morning. The eyes, I've been going relatively simple, often just using a cream eyeshadow, either the Maybelline Colour Tattoos, Tom Ford's cream, or most probably the Chanel Illusion D'Homme. I've been using Convoitise, yes, which is a very light gold, quite a lot this month. If I haven't been using my Tom Ford palette, it just gives a nice little shimmer, or I can build it up with a bit of eyeshadow on top from the Tom Ford palette. Or when I've been looking at a more dramatic eye, one of this season's Diapason, this beautiful plum, which looks alarming in the pot, but applies really beautifully as a kind of bruised look with iridescent shades that you can build up. Looks great on its own, or, you know, I have been using some lilac shadows. This one I've had for years and occasionally bust it out. I forget how nice and light it looks in the corners of the eye instead of a highlighter. And this one from Victoria's Secret, which again looks fairly flat in the pan. Well, not flat, a little bit glittery, but, you know, fairly solid purple. But when you apply it, just look at the different shades on that, the kind of pinky, purple, silvery tones in it. Really love it. It hasn't got a huge colour payoff, which, you know, I quite like. I don't want to be too deeply purple. It just gives a really beautiful depth and sheen to the eye. So I've pulled that one out. I talked in my empties video of a very unsatisfactory Victoria's Secret makeup product, which was the lip liner that was totally dried out within a couple of months and unusable. But some of the eyeshadows definitely worth looking at. I've got a very pretty pink one as well. And then just one fragrance I wanted to mention. I use the Bath and Body Works hand sanitizing soaps, and I've just got out this Peach Bellini one. Really loving the sort of summer fragrance. It's quite a few fragrances I've enjoyed this month. I have been getting out and buying some perfumes, but there isn't time in this vid to talk about those. I might do that separately if anyone's interested. But overall, those are my favourites for this month. So I'd love to hear what yours are, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.